Don't tell me Cruella brought Jasper and Horace with her. And don't tell me she snatched the town's pets because oh my, I really need to get moving. If our reinforcements don't get here fast, those furry friends will end up in Cruella's wardrobe.
Get used to the phrase furry friends, because it keeps getting used, along with furry pals. I'm not sure why nobody in this town just comes out and says pets. Maybe it has something to do with why there are no police. Oh, and also somewhere along the way we discover that the big bad mystery villain pulling all the strings is Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Another villain unaided by magic or superpowers, although he does have control of an entire army. However, there's no reference to a hostile takeover or a military coup. We're led to believe that Frollo, Cruella de Vil, and Gaston just waltzed into town and took over by doing Jack Doodley's squat. Why aren't there any police? This is freaking me out. Anyway, Jiminy Cricket finally decides to get off his duff and just round up a bunch of Disney heroes to fight off all the evil. So he manages to convince Aladar, Belle, Simba, and Ariel before running into any problems. And we find out things like
Ariel's of the sea, and although he is hopelessly landlocked, even Frollo never had to tangle with a lion, dinosaur, or a mermaid.
That sentence just sounds weird. Jiminy Cricket then visits Quasimodo and Esmeralda to try to get their help. They're skeptical at first because they're scared of Frollo, even though they both stood up to him in the movie and overcame that fear completely.
Echoed Phoebus with, yeah, and if you want to include me on your little caper, count me out. Doug, just the thought of being within 10 feet of Frollo gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Heebie-jeebies? Cannon? We don't need no stinking cannon! Ah! Well, of course, Esmeralda and Quasimodo ultimately decide to join the good fight. Jiminy Cricket also goes to ask Jasmine along, but she can't come, because she's pregnant. Yay! Instead of asking Aladdin or the genie, Jiminy Cricket is just at a total loss, doesn't know what to do. Tinkerbell appears and makes a suggestion, which he ultimately takes, setting us up for some mystery hero who will reveal himself later in the story.
He assembled the oddest, quirkiest assortment of Disney heroes, but he was lacking one more. This seventh hero has to be extra strong, brave, the real go-getter. Just who?
That's right, because odd plus quirky equals ability to kick ass and take names. Oh no, that's wrong. Odd plus quirky equals tedious hijinks. Well, at least we have our very best Disney heroes on the job. We have a dinosaur, a mermaid, a princess, an exotic dancer, a bell ringer, a lion, and a mystery hero. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that nobody with superpowers, fighting experience, or magical abilities was available. So even though our villains are outnumbered 6-7, because we have Gaston, LeFou, Cruella de Vil, Horace and Jasper, and Frollo, our heroes act like they're fighting a lost cause. They whine about how hopeless it is and how careful they need to be and how Frollo is the most evilest Disney villain ever and how he just can't be defeated. Earth to the Disney 7! You have a lion and a dinosaur with you! Can't one of you just bite his head off and we'll be done with this already? Last time I checked, lion and dinosaur versus people, lion and dinosaur won. Because they're a lion and a dinosaur. There's some boring bits about how awful and unfun Leroy is now that Frollo's in charge. The kids have to work in Cruella de Vil's sweatshop. Gaston and LeFou are doing something really evil. I'm not sure what. But worst of all, Frollo wants to cancel the Founders' Day party. That bastard!
Judge Frollo then thought of someone else. Tina Lassiter, the town council's president. Now, this woman, an attractive young widow and mother of two, had a rather stormy session with Frollo this very afternoon. In a way, She reminded him of another woman who had the guts to stand up to him, to tear him down in public. Esmeralda.
Frollo is falling in love with Tina. I got nothing. That's just gross.
Sometimes Frollo wished Disney had played a little more fast and loose with Hunchback, and let him end up with the girl instead of Phoebus. He secretly enjoyed his cornering Esmeralda in the cathedral scene, the way he grabbed and threatened her, the way he sniffed her raven tresses. Oh my.
This is actually really confusing. The Disney characters know that they're in movies, and they act out those movies, and then the evil characters are sent to the void while all the good characters can live on the set? And they're aware that they're cartoon characters and that their lives are just completely fictitious, but forget it. If somebody knows how this works and if they can explain it to me, I would appreciate that so much. Anyway, back to the story.
Now, this other woman, this Tina, while not as ravingly beautiful as Esmeralda, she was quite pretty and possessed a certain spunk and spirit. The spirit that can be broken.
Ravingly is not a word. You can't just take a verb and add ly to it. It doesn't work that way. And here is a description of Frollo, in case we all forgot what he looked like.
He was a handsome man with his pale complexion, neatly coiffed gray hair, dark steely eyes, tall, slender build, beautifully formed hands, and elegant clothes. Maybe Tina will find that attractiveness irresistible.
So, we were watching different versions of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, right? Frollo, acting completely out of character, has the hots for Tina and flirts with her unsuccessfully. Tina shares this with the Disney 7, who all insist that she go along with it and pretend to fall for Frollo? How the hell will that work to their advantage? Tina decides it's a good idea, so she goes to see Frollo and he molests her some more.
Just like the infamous Frollo corners Esmeralda scene, he sniffed Tina's dark hair, complimented her delicately floral perfume, then proceeded to caress her face. Those smooth silky hands stroked her hair, face, and shoulders. Then he leaned closer and planted a tender kiss to the cheek. Normally, Tina would welcome the warm embrace and kiss from a handsome man, but not from the likes of Claude Frollo, no matter how good-looking he is. He was definitely not her type.
Tina's response to being molested? Let it happen, because Frollo's just so darn handsome. Oh, and for reference, this is the infamous Frollo grabs Esmeralda part that they keep referencing. It's pretty creepy. Now, I don't exactly know how to take the video and put it onto the computer, so I have a still from the scene, and I'm just gonna... He basically, like, grabs her from behind and then, like, sniffs her hair and stuff. It's really creepy. You can find it on YouTube. Look at how gropey and molesty he is. And look at how uncomfortable she is. It must be love.
Claude Frollo flashed the famously white wicked smile, gallantly kissed Tina's hand, then gave her a smoldering look that made her tremble with rage and fear. Oh no, he thinks I'll cave in like a love-struck teenager? True, she always thought Claude Frollo one of the more physically attractive Disney villains, but such a pretty package hid a monster underneath. Frollo has something up his sleeve.
Remember, girls, if a man touches you in an inappropriate place, it's totally okay if he's handsome. And here's a picture of Frollo's famous smile.